Welcome to the Department of Natural Sciences information session. And we're really glad that you've come to look at us and to find out what we do. The Department of Natural Sciences really focuses on three major areas. We have a lot of majors, but if I distill it down, we have three major areas of interest that we prepare people for. The first and probably the largest is what's called pre-professional. Pre-professional is a fancy term for we're going to prepare you to go to another place. That means if you're looking for vet school or PT school or medical school or dental school, we're going to be able to give you the resources and the degree that will prepare you for those particular schools as your next step. The second area that we focus in on is graduate school preparation and or industry, in which we give you the skill sets within the sciences to be able to be successful in graduate school or to have the skill sets necessarily to go into a job. The last area, and a lot of people come into the sciences thinking medical school or applications that way, but really what they do is they love science. We also prepare students who love science to do education. And so we take a lot of students that really love explaining things and we funnel them into being prepared to go in and teach in the high school level. And so those are the three key areas that we prepare, but there are lots of majors. And so I'd like to go around and introduce you to some of the faculty that actually teach in these areas. And by the way, my name is Dr. De La Luz. I'm the chair of the Natural Sciences Department. I teach in the area of chemistry, but I also manage the department. I think we have several faculty members here. Anthony Minutolo, who teaches in multiple areas, including chemistry, physics, engineering. He's kind of a multi-use faculty member that does a lot, and you will interact with him a lot. Lori West is here. She represents the biology division. Pamela Hobbs is here, and she represents the health sciences, which has a lot of growing majors. And John Hearn is a chemist, but he's going to talk a little bit about some of the experiential learning aspects of our department. And so I'd like to start off with Anthony. Could you tell us a little bit more about the chemistry area and what our students do?
Yeah, so again, my name is Anthony Minutolo, and teaching out of the chemistry department. And really we have, as Dr. De La Luz stated, we've got three majors that kind of come out of the chemistry side of things. The first two being either a pure chemistry major or a pure biochemistry major. And again, those majors setting up you all as students to pursue either paths towards graduate school in those areas that may lead you on to areas of research or academics, or preparing you for industry and jobs out there, maybe working in a professional lab somewhere or of that nature. And then our third area is the biochemistry pre-professional degree. And so a very intentional path to set you all up as a students towards medical school and preparing you for the MCAT and giving you the wide range of information that is necessary for that future. We have, like many universities, we cover the full range of chemistry classes. We're not limited in what we teach here. We cover the general chemistry sequence. We cover organic sequences. We have a full sequence of analytical and spectroscopy chemistry, as well as several semesters of physical chemistry. And we have labs that are associated with all those fully functioning labs. One of the unique things I think about our university within the chemistry department is that we as faculty teach all of the lectures as well as all of the labs. You go to a major university and it's a good chance that you are sitting in a general chemistry lecture with 100, 150, maybe even 200 students. And the professor is way down front and then you spend that lecture time with the professor, and then you've got to go to a lab that is most often taught then by a graduate student. Your connection to your professor is very limited. At Lee, we have 8 faculty members that are housed in the chemistry division, and we teach all of the lectures, we teach all of the labs. Our courses at most, on average, maybe 25 to 35 students per lecture. And so you still have a very close connection to your faculty members, which is one of the key highlights and really one of the joys that for us as faculty members, why we choose to teach at Lee, especially in these divisions of STEM where we get to interact with you all as students. We have just again fully functioning labs. I think Dr. Hearn will talk a little bit more about just the research that we have to offer there. But as a department, as a division, we really do. We have a complete package when it comes to chemistry and a fully engaging program that's going to set you all up well, set you up as a student for any path that you're pursuing. It's a really fantastic opportunity for you all.
Thank you. In the area of biology, Lori, what do we have to offer in biology area?
Hi, so again, I'm Lori West, and I am a professor in the biology program. I do kind of cheat a little bit because I'm a biochemist and molecular cell biologist, so I do a little bit in biochemistry also. But what do we offer in biology? There are a few major areas that are kind of different depending on what aspect of biology is really your passion. So several of our students are interested in the pre-professional option, so they're interested in going on to medical school. I would say that that's the majority of our biology majors are kind of interested in medical school or PA school, so physician's assistant or PT potentially. So those are kind of major pre-professional programs that we offer. Then we also have so medical school, and I should have also mentioned vet school. That's also one that some of our students are interested in as well. So our pre-professional kind of houses that. We also have some students that are interested in just the research aspect of it. So they're interested in going on to graduate programs. So we offer that as an emphasis as well. It's kind of our biology major, but they're not interested in medical school or dental school or vet school. They're interested in going on to graduate programs. Now, what they want to take as far as the classes, it depends on what aspect of the science that they're interested in. So they can kind of tailor their program to what they're wanting to do in graduate school. So if they're more interested in medical research, they'll choose classes that are related to that. If they're more interested in ecology or that side of biology, they'll take classes that are tailored to that. So they can kind of choose and build their major based on which program, that they're interested in. We do have some that want to work after and not necessarily go on to graduate programs. So we do have emphases that will allow them to do that. Again, but depending on what they want to do, are they interested in more in ecology and that aspect of it? We do have and kind of a program that allows them to do that. Or are they interested in other sides of that? So not necessarily in the ecology. I will say it kind of I'm stealing a little from chemistry here, but I'm going to go ahead and mention it anyway. We have had some students that are interested in doing work right after, and I happen to be the one that teaches forensics also here. So if the students take enough chemistry, they may want to go on and work for somewhere like the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation if they're here in Tennessee. And they can do that as long as they have, Tennessee is interesting. The TBI, you got to have 24 hours in chemistry. So if they get that, they can do something like toxicology, so they can work in a laboratory. So that's another major emphasis that we have. I agree with Anthony that one of the benefits, one of the things I love about our program is that we also in biology teach the lectures and we teach the labs. I was one of those graduate students. I graduated undergraduate, went to graduate school, and I was a TA. So I was the one I was teaching the lab. We were told what to teach, but I was in the lab by myself with all of these undergraduates teaching. 3 months after I graduated college. That was a little overwhelming and daunting for someone that was younger than many of the students that were actually in my class that I was teaching. So in this one, usually we're older than our students, not always. We do have some that are going back, but it's the faculty member that's in there. And we love it because it is that laboratory setting in these small group settings that we really get to have this one-on-one relationship with our students and interact with them and know them better. So I think those are the major areas in biology.
All right, thank you. Pamela, talking about the area of health science that kind of straddles the PT, the PA, the health science. What do we have to offer there?
Hi, I'm Pamela Hobbs, and I think we have much to offer our students who are interested in health science. I teach in the health science and biology, anatomy and physiology. I coincidentally am also a physical therapist, and so that allows me an opportunity to stay with my sort of keeping my pulse on what's going on in the medical field around Cleveland and other areas, and PT schools, OT schools. So I try to be able to have connections for my students when they're needing their hours that they need for observation. Our health science pre-professional major is a good way for people to maybe, if they're not quite sure what they want to do in the medical profession or in the health science region, they may start there, and then we can kind of tweak their program. We have a lot of our occupational therapists who choose that as their major because they can supplement. And then I think by getting to know our students, by having smaller classrooms and really getting to know who they are, what they want, their dreams, and their strengths, I think we're able to help them develop a program so that they will be prepared for the school that they want to attend. And we encourage that early on to begin looking, where would you like to go to school if you're going to go on to a professional school. And I work closely with the pre-PT, pre-OT, pre-PA to help them plan on that, as well as getting different observation hours, making connections in the community. Another thing that I think we do a really good job of here that makes us maybe a little unique, we have myself and a few other of our professors that have a clinical background. And so in some of our classes like microbiology or anatomy and physiology, when things can begin to get just a little hard science, and you know, the students are thinking, I just want to go and be helping to heal people, and I'm bogged down in the middle of all these tests. And so we really try to bring in a clinical relevance, like, why is it important for you to understand how the urinary system works? And so in making it more clinically relevant, they can begin to see, oh, I'm going to need this. I'm going to have to make decisions about patients based on what I know or what I don't know. And that really brings it home to them. It makes it a lot more exciting. And we use a lot of sort of patient-centered problems to make them think through the different systems. And so that's, I think, very fun for them and gives them a little bit of that critical thinking piece that they're going to need. We have students who go on, like I said, PT, OT schools, public health, schools of public health. We're prepare people for that to go to med tech schools. And I think we just do a really good job in being able to prepare each student to go where they want to go, and then get in where they want to go to school. And ultimately, they are well prepared and feel like that maybe they're even more prepared when they go on to their professional program. But we also have a way to help students. We have a class where they can get certified as an EKG tech. So that's one way that our students are able to get their hours, their hands-on medical hours that they need for their professional schools. And we also have kind of some ways that they can get involved with nursing assistants to also get hours. So I feel like by just loving them, helping them, we're able to get them where they want to go. And of course, I want to plug our medical missions trip. I think John may talk a little bit more about that as well, but our medical missions is a great way to get hands-on experience, clinical hours, but also to get back into the mode of loving and healing people and being Christ's hands and feet. And I think we do that well.
Great. I think one thing that has come between all of your presentations is that there's a very important relationship between the advisor and the degree program, the student, about we want to make sure that we tailor your degree to fulfill what you want to do. So we're going to be able to talk to you, and we want those conversations. We want you to look at the schools that you were hoping to apply to so that we can make sure by the time you're finished in your 4 years here, you'll be able to be prepared for whatever, whether it's a job, whether it's a graduate school, whether it's a professional school, prepared for that at the end. So that's a very important aspect that we have. One other area that we really have an advantage is some of the experiential learning aspects. And so I wanted to have John talk to you about some of the research things that are going on and some of the trips that we have, which are experience learning. John?
Yeah. So we all love the hands-on aspects of science. I mean, I think that's one of the things that draws us to science is being able to experience what we're learning in lecture in a lab. And a lot of times some of the canned laboratory experiences that we have in some of the courses doesn't quite meet the need or the desire that we have. And so we have other avenues for getting some of that hands-on experience, and we do that through a variety of research programs. We have some externally funded grants that allow undergraduate students to do research. One of those is the McNair program, which provides research stipends for students to develop a research project and then execute that research over a summer, usually after their junior year. And we've got faculty here that work with students both during the academic year and over the summer on research projects. And I think one of the things that really sets Lee apart in this respect is that all of the research that we do here at Lee is geared toward undergraduate students. If you go to a big, Research One university, the professors there are really designing and cultivating research for graduate students and postdocs, and you'd be lucky to work under a graduate student on a research project. But here at Lee, you'll get to work directly with the faculty members on these research projects. And so there's a really great mentoring opportunity that we have to, show the application of what you learn in your coursework and what you learn in some of your laboratory work in doing a research project. And I think this is really where sometimes the science really comes alive for a lot of students, and they get really comfortable working in the lab and sort of trying to answer questions. And so I've actually had students work with me in the lab over the last, I don't know, it must be 4 summers now, on some research projects that I have geared specifically for undergraduate students. So that's sort of one thing. I think we've mentioned that we prepare students for a variety of careers, one of those being sort of research and science, but the other, I think, is a lot of students that go into medicine. And one of the key things that, Pamela mentioned, some of the sort of hands-on aspects of our learning. One of the things that we've developed here at Lee are global perspectives trips where students go on a medical missions trip to Central America. We've had 2 recurring trips that go to Honduras and Guatemala over the last many years. And students actually get to go run clinics down there, shadow doctors, actually help patients. I mean, we do the whole thing. We triage patients and collect, vital signs and give shots. And there's a whole, we run the whole gamut of providing healthcare for some of the people in these countries. And it's a really great opportunity to get some experience doing that kind of work. And so I think we've got our faculty really want to invest in the undergraduate student population in these two very distinct ways, and showing students how they can apply what they're learning to research for those who want to go to graduate school, and in the medical profession, those students who want to pursue a degree in medicine, we've got those opportunities as well. And all of that are the faculty members here are investing in the lives of our undergraduate students.
All right. Just to give you a little bit of more information, we also have trips that are cross-cultural experiences that aren't associated with medical. We have trips to Australia for the study of biology in a different environment, a Costa Rica trip, and an Iceland trip. So there are a lot of opportunities for you to study and explore in different places. All right, so why Lee? I think that's probably one of the questions that you need answered. Why come to a small Christian university to study? I think there are two main answers to that make us a little bit unique. I think one is what I would call the faculty focus. When you are preparing to go to college, you need to understand the difference between a small teaching institution and a large research one institution, something like UT or Vanderbilt, where the focus of the faculty there, although they have wonderful faculty, their focus, meaning how they are promoted and how they are retained, is based upon how well their research is going, not their teaching. Here at Lee, when I evaluate faculty and when the administration evaluates faculty to have them promoted and retained, the primary driver of that is teaching. We hire faculty who want to interact, who want to teach, who want to make a relationship with you. And I think that changes the entire dynamic about the process. Our faculty have small classes. We know who you are. If you are not there, we have your cell phone number to text. Hey, where are you? How are you feeling? What's going on? When you have a question, you come to a full PhD to answer that question. And so I think the focus of the faculty, the fact that we are here to teach and interact, makes a much different experience. I think the other aspect, which is probably what brought you to looking at Lee, is our Christian perspective. And I think that has a twofold aspect within our particular department. The first is that we are going to teach you the science, and we're going to teach you what is considered standard and accepted science. Sometimes that may or may not conflict with a biblical belief in God. But we are also going to teach that the study of science is really finding out and discovering how God made everything, and the beauty and the wonder that we see, and how it reflects God's nature in the nature of the world, is something that we focus on in every course. When we evaluate it, we ask students to evaluate how did we integrate our faith in our learning in our classes. And so I think that's a wonderful aspect about Lee, is that there is no separation between theology and science within our department. It is, we see the science as the product of God's hand. The other aspect that is Christian is that when you're coming to our department, a lot of students are really attempting to go to a very competitive next step. And being competitive is something that is associated with science majors. Now, that can be positive or it can be negative. If you're going to prepare for medical school or vet school and there's a limited number of seats, sometimes you can be competitive this way. If I'm a little bit better than you, I have a little bit better chance of getting into school. Well, that's seen in a lot of other schools, but I think because of our Christian perspective, that we come to the table and we come to the classroom, all of our students thinking that God has their hand upon them and God has called them to a certain career. And if that is true, then if I sit in a classroom with multiple people that want to go to med school, well, God has called us to be that, and He will help us to get to that outcome. And in that, we can be collaborative to make everyone better, to be prepared to get into that school that we are preparing for. And I think that comes out of that Christian perspective that our competition is a collaborative engagement so that we can all do better. And I think that just changes the dynamic in our particular science program. And so I think that you will feel it when you come, and it will be helpful to you. One thing that I like to share with students that are looking at Lee is looking at our success. And I think the best way to do that is to show you a list of what I've been building. Here is the acceptances that we have had for our students in the past few years. And so if you take a look at it, it's got initials for the first name, last name. I want to protect those students, but then it shows the university that they've been accepted to and the program that they've been accepted to. So if you see here in 2018-19 year, we had 2 people accepted into the programs to become a dentist. And then you can look at medical schools. You would be looking for DO and MD acceptances. For PT, the Doctor of Physical Therapy, DPT, and there are a number of different acceptances. And if you can see, this is probably the proof that we are able to challenge our students to the level that they were going to be prepared for the different careers that they want to be in. And so if you take a look, and I just scroll down a little bit, this is a very long document with very small type, but it actually demonstrates that our department is able to prepare our students. And I think this is a much better way to demonstrate, are we able to challenge the students? Are we able to support those students? Are we able to progress them to be successful? And I think we have the evidence that we are being successful. And so we are very happy to have this time to introduce our department and to share a little bit about ourselves, to share a little bit about what we're doing and what we want to do. And we hope that you partner with us, come to our university so that we can build that relationship and help you prepare for what God has planned for you to do. Thank you.